Yo, what's going on, guys? Evan Tanaka here, back with another video. In today's video, I got a new I Rate and Improve Your Guys' Team series with a special guest, Unbeatable Jacob. In today's video, we're going to be giving you guys some ratings 1 through 10. Could be a 6, a 7, a 8, a 9, a 10, whatever we do think, and give you guys our best suggestions to help make your teams as good as possible. So yeah, what's up, Jacob? How we doing today, man?
Good. His Unbeatable Jacob here to race some teams, man. Excited to do it. Evan's been going crazy on the YouTube. Pretty happy to see the work he's been putting in, so I'm excited to be here on his channel today.
Okay, guys, the first team here from Twitter is from Virgil. He's got John Morant, Klay Thompson, LeBron, AD, Yao, a very, very good starting lineup. The bench is a little bit worse with John Wall, Jimmy Butler, but still has Rudy Gay, AK-47, and Kristaps Porzingis, who are two really good cards. I love the AK-47. I love Porzingis. For me, I'm not the biggest fan of John Wall when we have guys like Larry Hughes, Ben Gordon, that are free cards that just came out in the game, even Penny Hardaway's, LaMelo Balls, all that type of players. Jimmy Butler, feel like he's a little bit outdated. He is still a pretty good lockdown defender, but I feel like there's better cards. So me, rating out of 10, it's still a very, very good team. I mean, that starting lineup's amazing. I'd probably go a 9 out of 10, maybe an 8.5. It's a very, very good team. For me, backup point guard, I'm going to go Penny Hardaway. And then for the backup two, you have, I don't think you said how much MT you have, but you have 200K in the top right, so we're just going to go with 200,000 MT. So Penny Hardaway is about 40,000 MT. And then for shooting guard, I like ISO Joe Johnson, honestly. I think he's a very good card. I mean, obviously, if you can get a Kazi Russell or Reggie Lewis, of course, go for those guys. But for me, I think I'm going to recommend Joe Johnson and Penny Hardaway. Jacob, what do you think about the squad?
Yeah, it's definitely solid. I mean, it's a very, very decent enough team. I don't think there'd be any issues at all with the starters. Overall, I'd probably give it like a 7, 7.5 out of 10, just because I really am not a big fan of the bench backcourt between John Wall and Jimmy Butler. I just don't really know who you're going to be running your offense through, especially if you're playing somebody who has top level defense. I definitely like Rudy Gay, so I'm not upset with the front court at all, or even the starters. It's all really good outside of the backcourt bench, and I think the answer to this equation here is just trying to get yourself a Kazi Russell or Reggie Lewis, because both are leaps and bounds better than Jimmy Butler. As far as your backup point guard goes, I think Larry Hughes is a good card to grind for. Get 2 of those cards, and bang, you got a new bench backcourt. You haven't spent a dime, so I think that's probably the route to go for this team. But outside of that, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. All right, Jacob, what do you think about team number 2 from James?
Okay, this is definitely not as good as the last team here. I just got to be really honest. That's just how I grade teams. I really don't sugarcoat it. I'd give this maybe a 5 out of 10, to be very, very honest with you. Just because I think that there's a couple decent enough players here, but there's also a lot of free and easy to get players that are going to be able to be better than some of these options you have right here. And I'm not even talking about the Reggie Lewis's and the Kazi RNG rewards. Just from the set that we got most recently, there's going to be some good options here to definitely take a look at. I would definitely try and find replacements for John Wall, Buddy Hield, and James Harden. I'm not going to tell you to replace Magic, because some people are absolutely incredible with Magic, but I think for the backcourt type of players, you probably should also take a look at cards like Larry Hughes. Take a look at some of the other options we have for the 2 guard as well. Even on the cheaper side, as relative to Terry Dishlinger is going to be a lot better than either of your 2 guards. There's a couple of them out there for sure that are going to be better than these 2. And then as far as the 3s go, probably want to try and grind for a card like Tatum. I know it could probably take a lot of time, but Tatum's going to take this team and make it a lot better. Try and maybe find yourself an AK-47 or Rudy Gay to slide in there. And as far as the bigs go, definitely try and look at getting the DeAndre Jordan card that came out pretty recently, because I see you got the Brook Lopez one, so you've been grinding those challenges. You probably grinded for the wrong center, because DeAndre Ayton is going to be a lot better than somebody like Brook Lopez. And I think you could probably plug him into the starting lineup and do just fine as well.
Yeah, no, I do agree with most of your suggestions there. I think for my grading, it's a little bit higher just because that's kind of the bar I've set with doing my videos. So for me, this team is a 7 out of 10, but I do understand with Jacob, a 5 out of 10 for his kind of rating scale is pretty fair. With mine, I like to give a little bit higher ratings just because I feel like a 5 is honestly got to be terrible, but I see where people are coming from when they say 5 out of 10. For this squad, you got 9,000 MT, which is a decent amount, not you don't got 400,000 MT, but with 9,000 MT, I'm going to look to sell John Wall and pick up Penny Hardaway. Penny Hardaway right now is super, super cheap, around 40,000 MT on Xbox. Pretty sure John Wall is about the 25 to 30K MT range on Xbox. So if you sell him and then buy Penny Hardaway, you're spending an extra 15,000 MT for, in my opinion, a much better point guard. And then we got about 70,000 MT left. I'm going to agree with the backup 3, or maybe start him. I'm going to say go for that Tatum card. It can be a grind like Jacob said, but I think it definitely is worth it for a team like this. You want to take advantage of as many free cards as you can obtain, right? Danny Granger, Pascal Siakam, you want Kazi Russell, Reggie Lewis. You want to try to get as many of these level 40 cards like Yao Ming and free cards like I just said. But John Drayden, I agree with that with Jacob. Replace him over Brook Lopez. In my opinion, not the biggest fan of that Brook Lopez card. He is solid, but I think a guy like John Drayden just gives you a lot more interior defense and can stretch the floor just as well as Brook Lopez. Buddy Hield and James Harden are two really solid shooting guards, but you definitely can upgrade those a little bit. And like Jacob said, I would say maybe try to save up MT and go for a guy like Terry Gissinger. He's only about 80,000 MT right now, so you should have just enough left. So then your starting lineup would be like Magic Johnson, Terry Gissinger, Tatum, Dolph Schayes, and Serge Ibaka. My opinion, a very good, solid starting lineup. Off the bench, you'd have Penny Hardaway. You can maybe still have James Harden right off the bench. Then at the 3, you could have Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, whoever you want to run, and then Draymond Green and John Drayden. I think that is a very good team. But yeah, so let's get on to team number 3 of the video, coming in from my guy Drew. He's got 650k MT, so definitely a lot more than the past teams. He's got AI at the 1, Klay Thompson, LeBron James, AK-47, and Kristaps Porzingis. Off the bench, got John Morant, Kobe Bryant, Bailey Howell, Marius Lucas, and Dirk Nowitzki. To be honest, there's a couple players on this team that honestly just cannot play on your guys' squad. One being John Morant, Pink Diamond, and one being Pink Diamond, Dirk Nowitzki. And you could argue that AI just really can't play anymore. So for those reasons, I'd probably give this team a 6.5 out of 10. You still got Klay, you still got LeBron, AK, Porzingis, even Kobe, Bailey Howell, Marius Lucas are pretty good players. But overall, I think it's a 6.5, maybe a 7 out of 10. For me, you got a lot of MT, 650k MT. I don't see any reason why you have AI and John Morant as your 2 point guards. I think LaMelo Ball and a guy like Penny Hardaway could be 2 great additions for your squad. If you want to go a little bit more expensive on the point guards, you could look to pick up a guy like D-Mitch, a John Morant, as well as a Penny Hardaway to kind of give you a little bit of height. I don't like having 2 small point guards. Or like right now you have AI and John Morant. I like to have 2, like at least 1 taller point guard, right? A Penny Hardaway, a LaMelo Ball, at least have 1 of those taller point guards. The shooting guards, honestly, I think for your team, I think Kobe Bryant and Klay Thompson are perfectly good. Same thing with the 3s. I think LeBron, Bailey Howell are good enough. Same thing with the 4s. Marius Lucas and AK, think they are good enough. But the backup center is what we need to improve. And I think a free card that you could go out and grind for is DeAndre Ayton, like we recommended for the last team. DeAndre Ayton, great inside center, but can also space out the floor really, really well. If you want to buy a card, I think D-Rob has gone down in price because of KP, because of Yao Ming, because of Anthony Davis. So I think, honestly, a guy like D-Rob you could definitely pick up for probably only around 100 KMT right now, which is an absolute steal for Dave Robinson. Still an amazing center in the game. So yeah, overall, that's what I would do to change your team. Jacob, you got any suggestions for this team?
Yeah, so this is a weird one because there's definitely some good stuff here, but there's also some awful stuff here. I'd say overall it's like a 6 out of 10. And I think that you could turn this into like a 9 out of 10 very, very quickly. So right away off the bat, I like Klay and I like Kobe at the 2. But the thing about it is if you're going to use them, use those guys as your primary ball handlers. So your point guards with John Morant and Iverson, you probably should just get rid of both of them. I mean, they're reward cards, so tuck them away. Go get yourself like a Bob Sura and like a Larry Hughes or Penny Hardaway type of cards to fill those gaps at point guard, and then start running your offense through your 2 guards because Klay and Kobe are very, very good. And then the starting front court is totally fine, but off the bench, I mean, there's the elephant in the room of Dirk being there. If you're the world's biggest Dirk fan and you're out here to have fun, I mean, use Dirk by all means, but if you're actually trying to win some more games, just get rid of him entirely. Move Mo Lucas to the 5, and then get like Josh Smith for the 4. If you really wanted to, you could probably pick up somebody like Rudy Gay to run the 4 as well. You have the MT there. Another thing I'll suggest too, if you're running that Pink Diamond John Morant and like you're just very, very set on running John Morant, that's your guy, just go buy the new one. Like seriously, like he's actually runnable on defense. He doesn't have 39 interior. He's got hot clamps. I mean, the upgrade you're going to pay if you have the MT is totally fine. If you really want to run Jaw, get the new one because the one you have right there is going to get hunted out by the bigger point guards of the world like Penny, like Magic. Any of those types of guys are absolutely going to dog. So that's about all I can say on that one.
Okay. Team number 4 here from Tim.
I see Yuta on the bench as a point guard.
I didn't see that.
Big country. I mean, yeah. I guess if you want me to be real, this is like a 2 out of 10. I mean, you can't play that bench. You can't put Yuta and Brian Reeves on the floor on any sort of game, like online. I would struggle to do well with those guys offline. So I got to give this like a 2 out of 10 to be very, very frank with you. But I mean, you have LeBron, you have Bob Sura, Jaylen Brown and Buddy Hield I don't absolutely despise. and then like Scotty and Doug West and Josh Smith off the bench are totally fine. So overall, if you're being serious, like for 400K, go get yourself like honestly grind for DeAndre Ayton, and then buy like a Terry Dishlinger and Rudy Gay type of card to play the 2 and 3, and then bang, all of a sudden you have like a competent starting lineup, and you still have 250K to spend on your bench. You can move Doug West to the 2, put Scottie Pippen at the 3, put Josh Smith at the 5, and then go buy yourself like a probably maybe something along the lines of like a pink diamond Giannis if you could find one for cheap to run the 4. That's 100K, and then that leaves you with like enough to buy Penny for the point guard position, or even just grind for Larry Hughes. And all of a sudden you move from like an unplayable team to a team that you can actually probably find quite a bit of success with online, because to be very honest, this just won't get it done online.
Yeah, when I was looking at this team to add to the video, I just saw a starting lineup. I did not really see Yuta off the bench. I didn't even see that. So I don't know if he's trolling, but if he isn't, then yeah, you can't run Yuta and you can't really run Brian Reeves. Doug West is okay, but I think for the starting lineup, it's honestly not terrible. I mean, but for the overall team, I mean, it's got to be like a 2 out of 10, like a 3. Like it's not even a playable team online. Like that Yuta is just going to get like literally exposed in every pick and roll scenario. And then even some other cards are not the best. I honestly think selling LeBron James will be a very smart idea. I don't know how much he's going for on Xbox or on PlayStation, but I think for this team, I think you need to sell LeBron James. He's got to be at least over 200,000 MT, probably more towards the 300K mark. And for your team, I think you need to get as much MT back as possible. I know you have 400,000 MT. You only want to spend 100K, which you kind of got to be willing to spend a little bit more with a team like this, but I'm going to try to keep it as budgety as possible. I think for the point guards, you can keep Bob Sir. He's definitely runnable and very good. I think Larry Hughes, Ben Gordon, or a Penny Hardaway could be very, very good 3 budgety kind of options. I mean, those 2 free cards there, and the Penny Hardaway is only about 40,000 MT. For the shooting guards, I'm assuming Doug West is at the 2 and then Scotty's at the 3. So let's say Buddy Hield and Doug West. Honestly, I mean, Buddy Hield's still decent, but Doug West, in my opinion, not the biggest fan of. I still really like Diamond James Harden, but I think with this team, you have 400 KMT. Like I said, if you're going to sell LeBron James, I think you can go out and pick up a guy like Terry Dishinger. Super, super good. He can do everything on the floor, play defense, create for himself, great jump shot, pretty much everything on the court you'd want. He can pretty much do. So your 2 shooting guards would be Terry Dishinger and then Buddy Hield off the bench. For your 3s, you would have Jaylen Brown and Scottie Pippen. I'm definitely going to keep Jaylen Brown. I'm going to throw out the option of just try to grind for Tatum if you can. If you can't, I think AK-47, the new pink diamond one, a super good lockdown defender, probably the best on-ball defender in the game in a lot of people's mind, at least the top 3 on-ball defender in the game. So then your 2 small forwards will be AK and Jaylen Brown. Like I said, getting rid of LeBron James, pick up a guy like Rudy Gay. I think he's super, super solid. He can really help you on offense as well as play some good defense. And then for the backup 4, we're definitely going to keep Josh Smith. I think he's really, really good. I honestly, personally like running him better at the 4 than the 5. So for me, I'm going to keep him off the 4. Now we should upgrade our 2 center positions. I love that KP card, man. I will just say that. I love Kristaps Porzingis, that pink diamond. I'm a massive fan of him. So I would say go pick up him and start him over Mitchell Robinson. And then off the bench, you could look to grind out a free card like DeAndre Ayton, maybe even Brook Lopez, but obviously I'd rather go for DeAndre Ayton. If you want to spend a crazy amount of MT, you could go out and pick up a guy like D-Rob. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it for this team. I hope these suggestions did help you. Let's look at the next team of the video from Quenzi. So his team, he's got 10K MT, he's grinding for Yao, he's grinding for Tatum, and he also wants to know if Marge Lucas would have a spot on this team. Okay, so first looks here, we got Penny Hardaway, Jaylen Brown, Joe Johnson unsigned, AK-47, and Kristaps Porzingis. Not a bad starting lineup, pretty solid. Larry Hughes, Ben Gordon at the 2, not sure how good that is. Darius Miles, not the biggest fan of. Josh Smith, really good. And Serge Ibaka, really good. But honestly, this team, in my opinion, is a 7, maybe a 7.5 out of 10. Your starting lineup's low-key like an 8, in my personal opinion. But I think that bench is just Ben Gordon, Darius Miles, to me, kind of just brings this team down to a 7 out of 10. So honestly, I think the starting lineup, with only having 10,000 MT, I think we're just going to keep the starting lineup the exact same. For the bench, Larry Hughes is good. But I think for that backup shooting guard position, you need to go pick up a guy like Diamond James Harden. Again, you only have 10,000 MT, so Harden will be in that price range. Sell Darius Miles. And here's the thing, like there's a bunch of different ways you go about this. Like there's a bunch of free cards you could grind for. Definitely try to go for Tatum. You said you're going to go for Tatum, so we're going to assume you're going to get Tatum. So start Tatum at the 3 and then have Joe Johnson at the backup 3. So then your bench will look something like Larry Hughes, Harden, Joe Johnson, Josh Smith, and Serge Ibaka. I think that makes that team a lot better. And honestly, that team goes from like a 7 to probably a 7.5, maybe even an 8 out of 10. So those are my suggestions. Jacob, what do you think about this squad?
I like this team a lot. This might be my favorite team I've seen so far in this video, honestly. The main reason being is I think in 2K the most important position is going to be point guard, even in the meta we're in right now, where point guards don't handle the ball much, and you have two of the best point guards in the game. Larry Hughes and Penny are going to get the job done as far as defense and offense go. They both have quicker shifty. They can both hold a little bit of defense. Larry more than Penny, but Penny's big enough that he kind of does. So I love your point guards. Don't change those at all. As far as the rest of your team goes, though, it's really not bad at all. So I got to give this probably a 7.5, 8. Honestly, because if you go for Tatum, bang, you instantly have a really good team, because what you're going to do is you're going to start Tatum at the 3, you're going to move Joe Johnson to the 2, you're going to move Jaylen Brown to the backup 2, Ben Gordon's up out of there, throw DeAndre Ayton in at backup center over Serge Ibaka, put a speed shoe on him, and all of a sudden your team's starting to look really, really good. Yeah, I don't mind this team at all. Just get Tatum and fill in the gaps and you'll be golden.
Okay, team number 5 from 2K Burner.
This is a good team. This is an easy 8 for sure. The only reason why I can't give it anything higher is because it's Melo's there. I get it. He maybe has added a ton of Melos. Hot badges, I do see he says that Siakam's going to take Melo's spot, but yeah, that's the biggest issue, honestly. Outside of that, though, it's very, very good. Once you get Siakam to replace Carmelo, I don't really think you need to change or upgrade really much. You might want to take a look at Penny Hardaway over Bob Sura. I prefer doing that. But outside of that, you're honestly fine. I really can't say that there's any players in this lineup that I really don't think can play outside of Carmelo. So yeah, it's an easy 8. Once you get rid of Carmelo, you're looking at a 9 out of 10 type of team.
Yeah, no, I would have to agree with that. I think this is a pretty easy team to rate and improve. To be honest, I would probably go an 8 out of 10. Maybe an 8.5, somewhere in that range, like Jacob said. And then for me, I would slide AK to the backup 3, and then get rid of Melo, of course, and get Siakam. I think if you do that, there's nothing really else to change about your team. Larry Hughes, Bob Sura, 2 really good budgety, free point guards. You got Kobe Bryant, Kawhi Leonard, really good. Once you move AK to the backup 3, you have really good defense with Kawhi and AK off the bench. You got Tatum and Kevin Durant starting 2 amazing offensive cards. The only thing I may suggest is moving Kawhi Leonard to the starting lineup and move Kobe Bryant to the bench shooting guard, just because I feel like that starting lineup, yes, they can play defense, but you don't really have a great defender on that line. And I feel like off the bench, you have maybe a little bit too much defense, right? You'll have Bob Sura, Kawhi Leonard, AK, and Siakam. I feel like you need a little bit. I feel like you need another guy to go score the ball, right? Bob Sura can definitely score the ball, but I feel like Kawhi, he can create a little bit. You got AK, you got Siakam, not really that good creating for themselves. So I think maybe bringing a guy like Kobe Bryant, Tatum, or Kevin Durant down to the bench, and then putting one of those cards in the starting lineup will just help balance out your line a little bit more defensively and offensively. Because I think that's the thing a lot of people mess up, is they think just put all your best players on the starting lineup and have all offense, or just have the best players on one line and then kind of have a weaker bench. I feel like that can hurt you when you're playing a game. If you're only winning by 5 points and then you bring your bench in and they have a really good bench, they can take advantage of that and go up by 10 or 15 points very easily. So I think maybe switching, in my opinion, Kawhi Leonard and Kobe Bryant will give you some more offense off the bench and help you a little bit more defensively on the starting lineup. So yeah, thank you for sending your team 2K Burner. Let's look at the next team of the video from Toddy, good old Toddy Sharp. That's obviously not going to be Rudy Tatum, going to be the Opal. Okay, so he's got Tatum at the backup 3, surprisingly not starting, but he's got LaMelo Ball, GP, 2 point guards, really good. The Dentist, Iggy, 2 amazing defenders. Terry, really good, of course. AK, Opal Tatum, super, super solid there. We got Antoine, who I'm honestly not the biggest fan of. I know a lot of people love that card. Me, not the biggest fan of, but he is really good still. Siakam, and then Porzingis and Josh Smith. I know you have Yao Ming, and to me, I just don't understand why you're not playing him, but whatever. Looking at the point guards, obviously good. We're going to keep GP. We're going to keep LaMelo Ball. You only have 5,000 MT, so I know you can get more MT than that. I definitely know you figure out a way to get more MT than that. Dentist, Iggy. Again, for the amount of MT you have, I think that is fine. AK, Tatum, good as well. Antoine, Pascal, Siakam. I'm going to honestly recommend to get rid of Antoine, but of course you're not going to do this because you locked him in. But for me, I would probably rather a guy like Rudy Gay. If you didn't lock in for Antoine and you went and got a guy like Rudy Gay, moved AK to the 4, and then put Rudy Gay at the 3. Personally, what I would have done, but honestly, you already locked in for Antoine, and with the amount of MT you have, nothing you can really do. If I wanted to give a rating out of 10, honestly, I think it's an 8.5. Maybe a 9, somewhere in that range. I think it's a very, very solid team. But yeah, nothing you can really do upgrade-wise. Jacob, what do you think about Toddy's team?
The way this team is, I just have to give it a 5 out of 10. Because you literally have a base series Ruby off of your bench. You don't just get to say, oh, guess what? I'm going to get a new card tomorrow. Can I have a 10? I could say, I have all diamonds, but I'm going to buy a bunch of opals tomorrow. Can I get a 10? That's not how this works. So you got a Ruby card on your bench. That makes it pretty terrible. That card's getting exposed. Outside of that, everything's pretty much okay, though. Antoine Jameson at the 4 is questionable. I know that you have MT and things like that, so maybe take a look at picking up like a KD or AD type of card to play in that position over Jameson. And then outside of that, I mean, you're pretty much good to go. And I'd recommend trying to use Yao too. I know you're level 40, so try and get better at using with him because it might take a minute to learn exactly the art of Yao, but as you can see watching Evan play, if you figure it out, you're going to have a good time.
Okay, guys, so the last team of the video, he's got Bob Sura, Jaylen Brown, AK-47, and Antonio McDyess, who honestly have not looked at all, so I can't really give my proper opinion on that card. KP I really like, Larry Hughes, Buddy Hield, Rudy Gay, Josh Smith, and DeAndre Ayton, as well as he has 140,000 MT to work with, just letting you guys know kind of what budget we are working with here. The only card that I see, again, I'm assuming Antonio McDyess is solid. I know DBG said he was pretty good when he first came out in Season 4 for the exchange, but for me, the only player I kind of see that's really not fitting in here is going to be Buddy Hield. And especially if you have 140k MT, there's guys like Kawhi, there's guys like Terry Dishinger, there's guys like Joe Johnson. I think one of those guys got to be in your lineup. For me, I would go Terry Dishinger. I think there's just no reason to not have him. Buddy Hield is still okay, but I feel like he's not a little bit outdated, but I feel like we just have so many good shooting guards in the game. I like Larry Hughes, like Bob Sura. I love those 2 point guards. I think they're super good, budgety, free cards, nice cards to have for your squad. AK Rudy Gay, of course, really good. Tony McDyess, I'm not going to give my opinion on because, again, no idea. Josh Smith, really good power forward, like him a lot. And then DeAndre Ayton and Kristaps Porzingis, 2 amazing centers to have. A rating out of 10, probably go a 7.5, maybe an 8, somewhere in that range. To me, Buddy Hield just kind of brings the rating down a little bit. And then Tony McDyess, I'm assuming he's not the best card in the game because I've never really seen him in game. Yeah, those are my suggestions and my rating about this team. Jacob, what do you think about the last team of the video?
It's not bad at all. Probably give it like a 7 out of 10. I think that it's probably closer to a 6.5 out of 10 just because your shooting guards aren't really elite. In this game, there's so many elite shooting guards, and a lot of them are dropping in price quite a bit. The Terry Dishlingers of the world, the Kawhis of the world, probably should have one of those type of cards at your 2 position. And then outside of that, I think everything's pretty smooth besides McDyess. And I don't even dislike McDyess a whole lot. The only thing about him is he's not the easiest card in the world to shoot with that 73 ball. But if you got a shoe on him and stuff, like, it's totally okay. So the 2 things I would recommend to do would be try and get Reggie or Kazi to play the 2 position. If you can do that, you can take your 140k and then go spend it on something like a Pink Diamond Giannis to play the 4 for you. You have to probably wait until a couple days pass or whatever it might be to find the right one at the right price. But that's going to open up a lot of options if you're able to get Reggie or Kazi. Then you could spend that MT towards upping your power forward. If you're not able to get Reggie or Kazi, then I'd recommend just getting like a Terry Dishlinger type of card to run the 2, move Jaylen to the bench, and then just kind of chill from there until some new cards start to come out.
Okay, guys, so that was all of the teams that we did rate. If you guys want to be in a future video, make sure to send me your team at EvanTanaka10. I'll be making a tweet post asking for teams, so make sure to comment your MT amount down below and your team to be in a future video. I just want to give a massive shout out once again for Jacob coming on to the video. Much respect to him taking time out of his day to come on and help you guys with some teams. Is there any last things you want to say to my viewers, Jacob?
It was a good time, man. Looking forward to coming back. Appreciate everything Evan's been doing in the community, man. One of the best up-and-comers, so more than happy to be on this channel. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right, peace out, guys.